Hello, this is the Tradesight U.S. Stocks and Futures Market Preview and Domestic Economic Data Roadmap. Well, not really, for just Wednesday, uh, the 28th of June, 2017. I think this is probably the last day we have a real chance at movement, but let's talk about this. Let's talk about how this really works from a real world perspective, because people talk about technicals, and then technicals should always matter, and then sometimes, there's other things that have to be factored in. So let's talk about this. First of all, this is the ES front month futures contract daily chart, and this is not the important chart. I'm going to show you the chart that matters right now on the market, because this is the one everybody should be looking at. I'm going to draw this in. This is the NASDAQ 100 daily chart since December. Look at that trend line, and we just are, as of today's close, we just closed under it for the first time ever. And so what you've got is, like 2 weeks ago, we had that big down day, right? All the heavy volume. And we've had a lot of heavy volume the last couple of weeks, even though we haven't had just pure excitement days. But this is one of the things, like if you look at 1987, 1989, like some of the big collapses, the top always looks like a big down day, and then like, no big deal, everybody's good, nothing to see here. And then you crack the trend line, and then you're in trouble. So here's why the timing of this matters, because you can't just look at the technicals, even though we are technical traders here at Tradesight, but you have to be a little bit smart about it. So there's a couple possibilities about how this plays out. Number one is, look, we just closed out on the trend line. Tomorrow could be a big down day, and it's the start of everything falling apart. Okay, possible. Number two is this. You're halfway through the year on Friday. All the bonuses get paid out based on where the market closes on Friday. All the end of month, end of quarter, end of half year prints are on Friday at the close. So usually you would say end of month, end of quarter, end of half year, Friday is going to be dead. Thursday, probably dead. That's usually how it goes the last 2 days. They've got all the stocks where they want them. But what happens if we fall apart Wednesday first and then start to go? It's possible. Remember, the bonuses are paid. So if you look at where that trend line starts, it's actually back in December. So if you just go January to here, we're up a lot for the 6 months. And that's great. But where are they going to get paid on it? What matters? Here's the other thing. The calendar is odd, right? Because Friday is the end of month, end of quarter, end of half year, and it's a Friday in the summer. So everything about this says Thursday and Friday should be dead. And you just get your bonus checks for the end of year, or for the end of half year, and move on. Problem is, then Monday's a half day, so you would think, well, nothing's going to go on. No, I'm sorry. It's a full day, but it's wedged in between a weekend and the 4th of July holiday on Tuesday. So usually you would say nobody's going to show up on Monday. And then Wednesday is the day after 4th of July, usually slow to start. And then you've got Thursday and Friday. You got a 2-day week at best. Friday is a summer holiday, or a summer Friday. So there's almost nothing next week that says the market should move. The problem is this. You're cracking the 6-month trend line heading into 5 trading days that no one should care about. But what if something actually happens? What if something actually happens in those 5 trading days? That's what we have to be aware of here. So what's the roadmap? What are we looking at? Well, first of all, closing below that trend line means Wednesday could actually show us some excitement, which would be great. I'd like to see that. Another down day, and we're going to move away from that trend line. It'll be the first time since December we've closed below it. I mean, you're talking 7 months of trading. We're going to close below the trend line if we head lower sharply on Wednesday, right? Which doesn't bode well for Thursday or Friday, even if it's end of month, quarter, and everything else. Okay? Then you have the weekend. Then you have the 1 day on Monday that nobody should be around. What if they take the market apart on the 1 day that nobody's around? It's happened before. I remember in Forex one time back in 2006 or 7, one of the biggest runs ever started on the half day of Thanksgiving, Friday, between Thanksgiving and the weekend, right? Big run. Nobody was expecting it. We'd been tracked for weeks, and then boom, they took off when nobody was around. So is it possible that Monday is actually going to be an exciting day, even though it shouldn't be? Possible. So now I'm actually interested in showing up Monday morning, even though I wasn't originally. So let's see what actually happens on Wednesday. And obviously, if Wednesday's a big down day, then Thursday and Friday, and the end of quarter, and they print the statements, and they all get their bonuses. And then maybe something does happen on Monday, even though Tuesday's the market's closed. And then Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. There could be any day in the next 8 days that this is more exciting than you really would have thought it would have been based on this chart. So that's the most important thing to focus on, and that's what we're going to be watching at Tradesight. Wednesday, we've got MBA mortgage applications an hour before at 7 a.m. Eastern Time, pending home sales 30 minutes in, and crude oil inventories an hour into the market. On Thursday, we've got the third look at GDP from the first quarter, which doesn't matter, an hour before the bell, along with initial and continuing jobless claims. And then an hour into the market, we've got the natty gas inventories. And on Friday, and I'm going through this just in case, if things are not exciting on Wednesday, if we don't do much, then you got to expect Thursday and Friday to be dull. We may not do market previews again until well after 4th of July. It's a week off for everybody, but we'll see what happens. Personal income and spending Friday morning. PCE prices Friday morning. Those are all an hour before the bell. Chicago PMI 15 minutes into the market, and Michigan sentiment 30 minutes into the market. That's it. We'll see what we get. I don't know what else to tell you. It was a decent day. Oh, let's show you real quick the intraday action, which was that we sold off in the afternoon, and the NASDAQ 100 was down 105 points. The early action was dead, but the afternoon action was definitely negative. So it is what it is. Charts, as usual, brought to you by eSignal. If you've not yet taken a trial of our services, feel free to do so. We will help you out for a couple weeks. Have a great trading Wednesday and potentially the rest of the week, depending on what we do.